Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to leave your body in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed, simply by breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation and exhaling tension. And I want you to scan your body for where tension feels like it is for you. That could be around your eyes or in your neck and shoulders. Could be a tense jaw. And sometimes people keep tension in their toes or their calf, or there in their arms. And just be open-minded to the possibility that this tension isn't necessary here. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to create a picture in your mind of you being in a sunroom, meditating in front of the statue of the Buddha. Observe yourself in that pose you tend to do when you're meditating. See that version of you breathing in deeply and exhaling slowly. And I want you to see the expression on your face. Is that of peace and tranquility? And when you're convinced that that version of you is calm and becoming calmer, in a state of peace and becoming even more peaceful, then step into that version of you and immediately feel how good it feels to be connected with peace. So you can breathe in and breathe out slower and deeper than before, tapping into a wonderful feeling of calm and relaxation. I want you to think of one thing in your life that is a source of immense gratitude. Hold the image in your mind and notice where in your body you feel that gratitude. And I want you to get a sense that whatever your biggest source of gratitude is, at some level, is a ripple through time, from the past to the present. And therefore, even if bad things have happened in the past, tough times, uncertain times, it has led you to this point where there is so much to be grateful for. As you think about your past, I want you to get a sense that the past has made you who you are. But what if there was a way to keep what's good and to improve on those things that are still echoing through time, that don't need to be there anymore? I want you to think back to an early memory of you as a child lying in a bed, perhaps being told a story by someone you love about fairies coming to visit. Hear that person telling you that fairies will come and paint your nails. See how young you are, impressionable, and notice that at that age, beliefs are formed effortlessly. beliefs are formed that carry on through time, and some beliefs that were created at that age or there or thereabouts are still being held on to right now. And I want you to imagine that person leaves the room and the child version of you starts to drift off to sleep. And I want you to imagine beautiful fairies glowing in the dark, going into that room and starting to paint the nails of this child. And I want you to imagine that you from the future are creating these fairies as a way to communicate with that childlike version of you that had tough moments ahead of her. Decide on how many fairies, the colours, what they're wearing, the shape of their wings, and imagine the fairies dancing and painting this innocent girl's fingers and nails. And then imagine something happens and that child opens their eyes and she can see the fairies. And I want you to imagine that you can communicate to this child through the fairies. I want you to imagine the fairies are telling this child they are loved, they are valuable, they are worthy. And I want you to imagine that you are now looking at this young child through the eyes of one of the fairies, perhaps the most influential of all the fairies, and I want you to imagine you're asking this child how they are, what they need. Just listen to that child. And then when the time is right, tell them that you are magical and you can grant them one wish. A wish that will help them throughout their entire childhood all the way into adulthood. Ask them, what do they need most? And then use the creativity that only a fairy has to grant that wish in a way that will help them beyond that moment, that will help them over years and years, all the way up to the present and beyond. And at the moment where you're casting your spell and granting that wish, see a glow of light spread from perhaps a wand all the way to the child, and they can experience what it feels like to have that particular resource. It's time to leave this moment, but you see a happy child smiling as they fall to sleep with their painted nails and this magical resource that you've given them. And then go forward in time to a New Year's celebration. You can see yourself perhaps just a year or two older, opening gifts. But I want you to imagine these gifts aren't objects. They're not food. These are emotional, resourceful gifts. And perhaps on that day later on, you, perhaps just 6 or 7 years old, find new presents perhaps in a bedroom, away from all the celebrations, But these are glowing gifts, wrapped carefully. And I want you to imagine 3 gifts. Each of these gifts contain a powerful emotional resource that this child will need later on in life. Perhaps one of the gifts is positivity and optimism. Maybe the mental strength to deal with truth. Perhaps it's resilience, or perhaps it's acceptance. But you are the architect of these gifts and these resources, and you decide what emotion this girl needs at this point in her life. Knowing what happens in the future, what will help her deal with volatility, uncertainty, chaos, and change. Therefore, whatever's in the gifts is whatever she needs most. And imagine her opening the presents. Each present contains a glowing ball of light with a different color, representing the very resource that she needs most. See her opening those gifts, and the glowing ball of light traveling into her chest, and she's absorbing that incredible emotion. And you know it's working because her facial expression changes. You can see her relaxed, smiling, positive, not hoping for an easy childhood, but accepting that she has the strength to deal with a challenging childhood. And when she's accepted and absorbed those gifts, let me know by nodding your head. And then go forwards in time to a memory of explosions and alarms. But rewind it to perhaps just an hour before all of the chaos of that moment. And imagine you're alone by yourself, and I want you from the future to visit yourself at that age, letting this child know what is about to happen, mentally preparing them and telling them that they have the mental strength to deal with this, that in the long run they're going to be okay. Tell them that you are a guardian angel from the future and you will keep them safe. Them and the people that this child loved the most, you will protect them. I want you to hug her and then be there with her with all the explosions and the alarms and the noise, and notice that she can handle that better because you've warned her what's going to happen and you've told her that you will protect her. And if she feels like she's coping better, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then when it's all over, just imagine the following day you're spending time with her and give her some advice that will help her not just here at this age, but the kind of advice that would help her throughout childhood into adulthood, a life lesson that you now know for certain, but she didn't know back then. And when you've shared that advice, let me know by nodding your head. But she has a gift for you. Something she had back then that you've lost connection with. You don't have to know what it is, just accept that it's coming from a time in your life where you had a resource that you don't have to the same level now. And gratefully take it from her, holding it, feeling you absorb it into your chest so that in this moment, your current self comes away with more resources than the version of you that was there. And then go forward in time one more time to a time where something arrived from a person that you loved. Some candies. And realized that the candies weren't the important thing. It was a message. And that message was that someone that you loved was safe. And I want you to imagine that as you eat these candies, each candy again contains a powerful resource that you need right now. Feel the taste on your tongue, the texture, the chewiness. And each sweet, each candy that you consume is giving you something that you need. And that might be joy, happiness, an improved relationship with your own intuition. Or perhaps it's self-acceptance. Accepting who you are and realizing that not everything is a problem to fix. Sometimes the best way to deal with a problem is to be grateful for what problems in the past have given you to shape your future. And realize that each of these candies had something even more powerful. Love. Thought that came from one person to another, traveling through space and time to get to you, to give you a sense of happiness, relief. And as you consume these candies, you're feeling that self-love is increasing, but also your capacity to love and understand all, even including the people that you felt hurt you the most. They say hurt people hurt people. So how can you love someone that hurts? Only through compassion and understanding. And as you activate that part, realize it doesn't just change the past, it changes everything, all the way up to the present and beyond. And then find yourself returning to a sunroom, staring into Buddha, feeling enriched with resources, and feeling ripples through time that are catching up with you in the moment and beyond. See the flickering candles represent the timelines updating all the way to the moment, and get a growing sense of a stronger intuitive connection from yourself to yourself. And then float out of that version of you in that sunroom, meditating back in your body, in the present, as you accept that these are just ideas within ideas, thoughts within thoughts, dreams within dreams, and you're reconnecting with yourself in the present, taking all of these wonderful changes with you. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that all parts back in the present. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling optimistic, positive, full of self-love, with a healed relationship with your childhood, starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.